What's up, Acolyte Squad? My name is Prince, and I'm an urban acolyte. We're talking about Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian and in The Last Jedi. I want to share an article from my main man, Brian. Oh, shoot, I just forgot Brian's name. Brian Young, who's got another piece talking about how it's a tale of two Lukes, how the Luke Skywalker that we saw in The Mandalorian season 2 finale and the Luke Skywalker we saw in The Last Jedi work together. I like this article because it plays up basically on what I've been saying all along. I'm sorry, I don't know who needs to hear this, but the Luke Skywalker we saw in The Last Jedi, that's not going to be retconned, right? Luke Skywalker became a legend, and I think I talked about this in another video that I recorded today. I don't know when I'm going to upload this video, but I talked about that in a video that I posted, that I recorded and am posting the day that, well, actually it'll be tomorrow for me because it's almost 10 p.m. over here. But I talked about, look, man, in The Last Jedi, Luke talked about, look, man, I made myself up to be a legend. People believed the legend spread, and I couldn't live up to what people thought I was. And that's the Luke, right? It's part of his natural progression for who he is. And whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. That's what's going to happen. It's why I said, hey man, I said it a long time ago. It was like, if Luke shows up in this show and Grogu the child goes with him, if he stays with him, look, it's not going to work out well for him. Luke hadn't been a good teacher, right? So, Brian Young has kind of been on the same line as me. The Fandom Menace has kind of been griefing him about some of the things he said online. And I'm sharing it here because I don't really give a shit what the Fandom Menace does. They can try to punk me. I'm not going to hear it anyway because I'm in my own lane, and like, I'll be honest, like, some of y'all have said things to me in the comments. I ain't read that shit either, right? I'm focused on my other projects. This channel's for fun. I'm going to do what I do. Hey man, I'm going to make the content, the videos that I want my audience to see. And my audience is me. I'm making these videos for me. So if you don't like it, oh well, I'm not making it for you anyway, right? So this article, right? So for anyone with a passing familiarity with the timeline of The Mandalorian and its relationship to the rest of the Star Wars canon, it wasn't a hard leap to guess that Luke Skywalker would be the Jedi to answer Grogu's call from the temple on Tython. When he finally did appear on the season finale of The Mandalorian, he brought with him an action scene that is at once breathtaking and startling, evoking equal parts of Darth Vader's Rogue One hallway scene and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon at the beginning of The Phantom Menace. Luke Skywalker arrives and cuts down the Dark Troopers in style. To boil it down to a word, that word would be badass. This scene and depiction of Luke became a talking point between those who liked Luke's depiction as a broken man in The Last Jedi and those who disliked or misunderstood it, finding the new scene to be a repudiation of Rian Johnson's masterpiece. So let's cut through the noise. The Luke on display in The Mandalorian is exactly the Luke that we'll find years later in The Last Jedi. Exactly. Let me explain. On one side of Excalibur, the legendary sword of Arthurian legend, it is written, "Take me up." On the other side, it is written, "Cast me away." Excalibur is a symbol of the responsibility of power, and Luke's lightsaber across his journey represents this. The Luke Skywalker we see in The Mandalorian is still in the take me up phase of his use of the laser sword. He's building upon what he knew of his training. The Jedi who trained him still wanted him to be a sword of vengeance and justice in the galaxy. He had yet to become disillusioned. This Luke is one that wants nothing more than to help people and to do good. You think what? I'm going to walk out with a laser sword and face down the whole First Order? Luke says to Rey in The Last Jedi. After all, he's evolved past that. Maybe not in a good or healthy way, though. He's not yet been able to synthesize all of the lessons of his past. During the era of The Mandalorian, walking out with a laser sword and facing off against all his foes is exactly what Luke would do. Of course, he'd have to. Luke felt Grogu's presence in the Force, and thanks to the amplification of the temple, it was enough to send him tearing across the galaxy to find this powerful Force user who might be in trouble. This is Luke Skywalker's modus operandi, and exactly the reason we find him in the spot he's in The Last Jedi. In The Empire Strikes Back, Luke's entire story revolves around him ignoring the wisdom of his masters to save his friends, brushing him dangerously close to the dark side. This is the same path his father was on in Attack of the Clones and was a cause of concern. Anakin thought he could change his visions of the future and fell to the dark side. Yoda promises that once one starts down the dark path, forever it will dominate their destiny. With Grogu and Din Djarin in trouble, of course, Luke is going to fly into battle to protect them with his laser sword. At this point in Luke's journey, this is the Jedi way. Luke is yet to find catastrophe in sensing the future and trying to affect it. The entire scene in The Mandalorian shows Luke idealizing the Jedi he has in his head. Now that they're extinct, the Jedi are romanticized, deified, Luke tells Rey. But if you strip away the myth and look at their deeds, the legacy of the Jedi is failure, hypocrisy, hubris. Luke in The Mandalorian is living up to that. This is him becoming the legend. That's what I've been saying. Have I not been saying that? He tells Rey he becomes the legend he tells Rey he became before he succumbed to that same hubris himself, which is why the scene also evokes Vader's appearance in Rogue One and Anakin's in Revenge of the Sith. Yep, Anakin chopping down everybody there on the Mustafar system and in the Jedi Temple. So Order 66. Ahsoka not taking Grogu as an apprentice is showing a different path of wisdom, though she might have been mistaken as well. She's concerned about Grogu's attachment because of his connection to Din Djarin, and this is exactly what happened with her master, Anakin Skywalker. Both were asked to lead their consenting parents. To Ahsoka, the risk is too great. Ahsoka has learned lessons that Luke hasn't learned yet. Luke says of Ben Solo, and we'll see if it's true of Grogu as well. In my hubris, I thought I could train him. I could pass on my strengths. Luke's entire trajectory is about a man who can sense the future and change it for the better. Where Anakin tried and fell, Luke has been successful. He saved his friends and he turned his father back to the side of good. But as Yoda says, always in motion is the future. I talked about this in the last video I recorded about all that Darth Malgus stuff. So this is exactly what I've been saying. Hey man, shout out to everybody that's mad at me for speaking like the truth. Like I analyze the story that we have, right? All the predictions and stuff. If I get them wrong, who gives a shit? That's not what I do. That's not my strength. My strength is in, okay, here's the story. This is how I'm reading into the story. These are the themes. This is the hero's journey. It's like, I'm like my man Nigel will understand I know there's a few theologians, theology teachers who watch the channel. Shout out to y'all. It's like if somebody were to say, okay, you've read the Bible, now what comes next? And you want me to predict, you want me to like give a prophecy. Well, the prophecy that I give you is going to be like so vague that it could fit any timeline and any story, because that's how prophecy really works. And then it's like, then you're wondering, oh, you got it right there. But 10 years later, it's still right. Or it could be the next thing, right? That's why I really don't, I just say, this is what I think. This is what I think makes the most sense, right? But at the end of the day, when I'm not attached to any of this stuff, right? I just do this for fun, and, it's a paid hobby. So if you're like, well, why do you keep doing it? It's a paid hobby, right? I do it for fun. Oh, and I get a little bit of money. And if the videos blow up, then I get a whole lot of money. That happened with Rogue One, right? But the thing that I've always said, I said this earlier today, right, is one of the reasons, like Yoda, always in motion the future is, the reason the Jedi got away from the mystics and their prophecies and that kind of thing was because they were falling to the dark side. Why? Because they got attached to a certain outcome. Why did, as we see in this picture, oh, you guys can't see my mouse moving around, but this picture right here that I'm kind of jiggling around, That's what happened. Luke looked into Kylo Ren's mind. He saw darkness. He saw darkness of the things that Ben Solo would do, what he was capable of doing. Now, and it ended up becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. The same way Anakin, trying to prevent Padme's death, trying to prevent his mother from dying, trying to prevent all of these things that he's attached to, the outcome that he doesn't want to happen, it made that outcome happen. Luke Skywalker sees the things that Ben is capable of doing, the things that he will go on to do. He sparks his lightsaber because that is his initial, that is the thing that he's talking about, right? Is that I became the legend. Luke Skywalker is Star Wars Superman during this period after Return of the Jedi. He flies in his X-Wing and saves the day, right? And with a lightsaber. And it's like, what did Pablo Hidalgo say years ago? The most powerful Jedi is the one who knows when to put down his lightsaber. Luke did that when he faced Palpatine. It forced Anakin to shake off the dust of the dark side, the haze of the dark side, and return and to deal with his master and save his son, right? It's what made Luke perform, his final act to immortalize himself as a legend and save his sister and Rey and what remained of the resistance against the First Order. He literally faced them by himself with a lightsaber, except he wasn't actually there and he didn't really have a lightsaber. Everybody thought he was there, right? It was how he used the Force. He did the most Jedi thing possible by fighting the First Order without fighting. As Bruce Lee said in Enter the Dragon, he demonstrated the art of fighting without fighting, right? That's what makes Luke Skywalker great. That is the Luke Skywalker who has learned from this guy who dashes in and does the badass thing that has everybody, oh yeah, Luke Skywalker. We don't like the Jake Skywalker, right? The Phantom Menace guys who want Luke Skywalker to be Rambo with a lightsaber, right? Just like the Luke Skywalker action figure that has muscles when Mark Hamill is 5'7" and a buck. Was like 5'7" and a $150 dripping wet when he was, making Return of the Jedi, right? He's not a big man, but, then all of a sudden we got Luke Skywalker muscle bound action figures. Like they took He-Man, they took the cast from making He-Man from Mattel, Kenner did, and then they, put a swole up Mark Hamill head on it or something, right? But let's get back to this. So it's not possible for Luke to have won all of these fights against potential futures. And that's why there was such a struggle in him when he saw so much darkness in his nephew that fateful night at the temple. Luke's modus operandi to this point was to fix the future before anything bad happened. No big deal, and it backfired horribly. He disappointed his masters, his family, the Force, the entire galaxy, and he had a lesson to learn. That's why he went into exile, and that's why he cut himself off from the Force, convinced he'd do more harm than good with his visions. That's why he cut himself off from the Force, because he felt like if he maintained that connection, he was just going to mess things up even more. Right. So this is why the central question of The Force Awakens was never who is Rey. It's always been, why didn't Luke come to save Han? At the beginning of The Last Jedi, Luke is in this phase of his life where he's turned the sword over. Luke believes that he's learned how to cast Excalibur away, but he's wrong. He learns that he can still save the galaxy, but can come up with ways to do it that don't end in the violence and hubris of his past. This is why Luke's Force projection on Crate is the perfect synthesis of all of his teachings. He can save his loved ones and give his nephew Ben a choice without having to resort to killing him. A Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack. This is where Luke truly becomes a Jedi Master. He takes the path of least traditional force to save his friends. He's taken the lessons of his youth, taking up the sword, and the lessons of his age, casting it away, and found peace and purpose. He's able to use the image of the sword rather than the sword itself. And for the most part, it's the more Jedi-like thing than we saw. And for the most part, that's more Jedi-like than anything we saw the Jedi of the Republic accomplish, right? What did they do? Aggressive negotiations. What's that? That's negotiations with a lightsaber, right? That's what Anakin said, and he got it from Obi-Wan, right? The Luke Skywalker of The Mandalorian is in no way a repudiation of The Last Jedi. They're the same character at different moments of their lives. This is why I love the sprawling nature of Star Wars, watching stories across such a vast timeline. Yes, the Luke in The Mandalorian is the Luke some wanted to see in The Last Jedi, but that would have shown zero character growth on Luke's part for a period of more than 30 years. It would have been the worst disservice to his character. But now we have both and we're all happy, right? So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that Luke showing up the way he did, it wasn't cool. Like my biggest complaint about it was that, the little jackass, punk ass bitch high school kids that watch my channel came here and spoiled it for me, and they think it's funny, right? You know, I hope you don't get anything for Christmas. Let me stop. But anyway, I mean, all of that, maybe you're like, well, it doesn't make sense, Prince. You and Brian are on some other stuff, but this is the new system guide for Ely Chin. This is my martial art, the martial art of awareness. This is my Sifu, my teacher, Sam Chin. This is his son, his youngest son. This dude's Kung Fu is amazing. He's a big kid. He played high school football, and he stopped to focus on Kung Fu. And I don't blame him. When your father is like literally like a Jedi master, you know, you put down everything and go and, you know, be, you know, the apprentice to the master, right? But in Ely Chin, one of the places, and this is a new book I haven't read. I'm going to admit I haven't read it. I had my other ones are back in the U.S., and I picked this up literally the last time I saw Sifu right before I left the U.S. to come to Thailand. Bought this book. But there's a part in here where we talk about, it's like, okay, well, we're learning, you know, this internal martial art that's like Tai Chi, and, you know, we're learning how to fight, right? We're learning how to, I've been hit by people that are high up in the system and it hurts, right? I'm on video. There's videos of me training with people scattered throughout the channel. I'm probably going to be taking those videos down and moving them to my other channel, all the real life Jedi stuff, because the people who want to see those videos are coming because they want to know about meditation and Tai Chi and that kind of stuff. And they're like, Prince, why don't you make more of these videos? And I'm like, I do. They're on a different channel. So I'm going to say, well, I'm just going to take these videos and put them on that other channel. So you see that I am making more of them. And if you didn't know, I just posted a new Tai Chi video to that other channel. And I've got like my next 8 or 9 videos planned. That's what I've been doing in between the last video I recorded today, going to the store with my wife, and then I've been up here working on strategy, and that channel is going to really be Urban Acolyte. Prince, it's like you're training to be a real life Jedi. It's going to be on my personal channel, my vlog, and I may even change the name of the channel to the Acolyte, right? Like the Star Wars show that's coming out in a year or 2 or 3, I don't know. But why I mention that is like you learn this, and there's different phases of the learning, right? So you start with yourself, right? You how to meditate, solo practice, the philosophies, concepts, and principles of this art, right? What is the art? How do you start to train on your own? Then you get to partner practice, right? So now, you know, you're not just practicing forms and and solo exercises and the different Qigong and Neigong exercises and the seated meditation. Now you're starting to get to the partner practices, right? And you start off with guided stuff. This is the solo practice with a partner is essentially what you start with spinning hands, right? And then you start to get to more and more stuff where it's less structured, less and less structured, until eventually you get to all out, like free sparring, free fighting. Sancho is one of the free hands, right? Sancho, free hands, free for all you're fighting, right? And does it stop there? No, because to answer Star Wars Theory's question about, well, what's the point of training if there aren't if you don't have like these video game levels or something, like from his little misunderstanding of what Freddie Prinze Jr. was saying, right? There's always a deeper level to your awareness, right? So how does this relate to this thing with Luke Skywalker, right? So Luke Skywalker, his idea of a Jedi is they rush in with a lightsaber and save the day. But to go with this idea of Excalibur, first you take up the sword, but then you find the other part of casting it away, right? My friend Ash talked about this in a video where it was like, why do I continue to train Ely Chin? I already can fight, right? I fought in amateur Sanda tournaments. I think he's got a 4-1 amateur fight record. He hasn't fought it's been 10 years, right? And it's like, well, why do you still train? Well, he teaches, but there's always a deeper level. There's always a deeper level to your awareness. And one of the things that the book, the System Guide, talks about is that at some point, the real purpose of the art is to learn how to lead the opponent, right? You lead the opponent. If you're in a fight, well, this person, I don't know what happened. He fell on my fist and now he's on the ground. And, people looking around, they're like, I don't know what happened. That guy looked like he fell and now he's on the ground, but he was the one that started the fight. And that other guy that's right there didn't want it, right? So there's, I don't know, some of you have I don't know about here on this channel, but the other channels, videos where I talk about mixed martial arts and traditional martial arts fighting, right? Have this unreal idea, this romanticized idea of what a fight is, and that, if you swing back and throw a haymaker and sleep somebody, that and people see it, that they're going to cheer you on like in the movies. No, you're going to jail. Those are witnesses. They saw you commit a crime. Even if you did it out of self-defense, they saw it. They're going to see you as the aggressor, right? So this is, so it's like, well, I don't know what happened. I just saw that guy come after that other guy, and now he's on the ground, and that guy was just saying, somebody help me. I don't know. Maybe he tripped, or he was unlucky or something. I don't know. Right. But eventually, so you're leading this person to the outcome that you want to do your technique. We don't really have techniques, but everything is a technique as far as like not pre-planned or so. Well, yeah, I'm going to hit him with my, my five palm exploding heart technique and, the Kamehameha technique and whatever. We don't have that. It's just, you go where they are not, right? And you know that through awareness, through listening skill. Tingjin, this word that I've said in other videos, and people think I'm talking about magic powers. It's just listening, learning how to be aware, right? Learning how to pay attention, be in the moment, feel the force, right? Dave Filoni said feeling the force is just being in the moment, right? Being mindful of the present. Not doing anything, but, do you do it or does it do you? It's a little bit of both. Well, no, it does you. You're not doing anything, right? Like Bruce Lee said, I don't hit, it hits on its own. But later, and this is in here. I don't remember where in this book, in my other one that's back in the US, I have it highlighted. But it says, but at the highest level, right, there's no physical contact. You lead the opponent with your mind. And that's that Luke Skywalker Last Jedi level. The Mandalorian, Return of the Jedi, yo man, it's put up my dukes, right? I got my Bruce Lee, like that whole thing going, right? That's but it's supposed to be the art of fighting without fighting. And that's a mental thing. I lead your mind, right? Okay, I sense that you want to have a physical confrontation, and maybe I talk my way out of it. Maybe by the end, right? The Jedi mind trick is real, right? Maybe by the end, you don't even remember why you wanted to fight and why you were angry, and you end up thanking me for, or thanking that person, that real life Jedi, for not, causing you to have to activate your dental plan, right? So that's why, some people will, when I talk about this stuff, I'm talking about the story, but underneath it all, right, I'm trying to give lessons about life, man. I don't know if anybody else on YouTube talking about Star Wars is talking about it like that on that level. So when people talk about, man, Prince, I love you, but you're dead wrong on this one, I'm like, no, I'm not wrong. You just don't know what I'm saying, right? You're hearing one thing, but you're not hearing the real lesson, or maybe you are. You just don't understand, right? It is what it is. But I really enjoyed this piece that Brian wrote, because I feel the exact same way. That, hey, man, Luke, it's great that everybody's excited about Star Wars for once and the Luke Skywalker, but it's not, they didn't dunk on Rian Johnson. They didn't dunk on The Last Jedi. If you don't like it, you just don't like it. And I've always said, well, you need to question why you didn't like it. Why did you have an issue with that? And I have people that try to rationalize everything, but I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, I always hear you expected this thing and it didn't meet your expectations. And that's a problem with you, not a problem with the movie. The movie is just a thing. It's just a story. Right? If you hear the story and you don't like it, well, why didn't you like it? Well, it was a bad story. Well, what made it bad? Well, it was just really bad. Everybody says it. Who the fuck is everybody? Why are you a follower then? If everybody jumps off a bridge, are you going to jump off too? Well, everybody else is jumping off, so I'm going to jump off too. Right? I feel like people just aren't being honest with themselves, right? Why didn't you like it? Because what I'm really getting at when I say that is we start talking about habits and patterns. And if you fall back into habits and patterns, you're not mindful, you're not present, right? Me questioning why people don't like The Last Jedi, I don't really give a shit why you don't like The Last Jedi. I'm asking you, why are you following what other people say, what this critic said? What do you think? And why do you think it? And why do you think that? Have you always thought that in similar situations? Right? I'm really driving it, trying to wake people up, trying to wake your mind up. But you know what? Hey man, you can, if you try to change how people think, they will have violent reactions. They'll kill you, right? Why people want to kill Jesus? If a historical Jesus lived, why people won't kill Martin Luther King, right? Why people kill Malcolm X? He tried to change the way they think, right? John F. Kennedy, he tried to change the way people thought in America, right? If you try to change the way people think, they'll have violent reactions. They will want to kill you. And me, I'm just, my mom always said, I'm afraid that your mouth is going to get you in some trouble because you find something and you won't back down, right? And maybe it's good I'm where I'm at, right? At one time I was going to go into politics. Matter of fact, if Lamar Alexander had lost his first run for the Senate, I would be in Washington, D.C. because the guy who was running against him was going to give me a position on his staff. Because, that's the way things work in politics. Somebody in my family did a favor. It's not anything shady or anything like that. Just business. They did a business favor for somebody on his staff, and it's part of their business. Nothing shady, just business, right? And he was like, well, how can I repay the favor? And they were like, yo, I got a family member that's trying to go into politics in grad school. And, if you give him a job on your staff, if you win the election, we'll call it even. And so like I said, I could have been AOC before AOC, right? Who knows? So yeah, but that wasn't the path for me. I'm kind of glad it wasn't, because I really don't like politicians. I probably have gotten arrested for jacking somebody up, choking them out, right? I don't play nicely with people who lie for a living. Right? If you talk about it, be about it. If you say you're going to do it, do it. If you can't do it, then just say, hey, man, I can't do it. There's been times I said I was going to do things and I couldn't do it. Stuff happens, right? But I'm not going to talk up something and just talk it up just to talk it up. I'm one of them people, hey, man, I can't do this, right? Stuff I wanted to do with this channel and with my business, and things happened in my life last year that things got turned all upside down, and, things happened that I couldn't control. And, in that particular situation, it's like, well, how can I rectify that? So, I'm talking specifically about my training business, me moving to Thailand and moving faster than I thought I would, and not having internet access the way I needed to work for really until January, right? I got here in October. I didn't have a good connection, constant connection that was fast until January, and I got here in October, right? So that was 2 months and some days, right, that I really had trouble making videos, had trouble writing workouts. One of the programs I use, I got locked out, right? So that's I'm kind of rambling now, but because that's something I was thinking about earlier today, is there's going to be a fitness challenge to kick off the new year. It's not going to be, oh yeah, we're going to do 200 kettlebell swings a day and y'all just, nobody does it. No, it's going to be, you sign up and we're going to check in on each other and something like that. And folks, maybe if it's just 10 people, it'll be 10 of us doing a challenge. I don't know. I got to figure out how I'm going to do it, how I'm going to put it together, how I'm going to put it out there. There's a new app I want to try out. The people who train with me know that that's how we communicate, is through fitness apps. There's a new one that I actually trained with, I can't think of the dude's name, but he's trained all these celebrities. And actually, the program didn't work out well for me. I didn't get any results, and that's not talking bad about that celebrity trainer. It's just, the program he put me on, I was like, I cannot do this. Not physically, I could not do it. He wrote it for a gym, and I was like, I don't have access to a gym here. Gyms aren't close, and the gyms here that I had seen weren't up to what we consider a gym in America. And I was like, well, I can adapt it to do it at home with what I have. But then it was like, some of these exercises I don't do. And it just came down to, you know what, it's really hard for a coach to have a coach who does things differently, right? And has a different approach to training, a different workouts. I do a lot of stuff based on time. And kind of like a CrossFit, I don't do CrossFit, but kind of the way things are done in CrossFit. So, it was like, this guy's giving me, well, you got kettlebells. He's giving me kettlebell exercises, but it's kind of like, well, I'm not a celebrity trainer. I'm not on your level, but I'm a kettlebell guy. So I know more about kettlebells than you do. Right. It's like I'm a that's my specialty. I'm a specialist in that. And it wasn't a good fit. It didn't work out. That happens sometimes, right? Sometimes things just don't work out. Same thing can be said about Luke Skywalker and him trying to be a teacher. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, right? For whatever reason. I feel like Luke's heart wasn't really into being a teacher. His strength was his compassion, right? But he was a teacher because there was no one else to do it, right? And that's something you got to be born with that, right? You can learn to be a good teacher, but it's got to be in you at the same time, right? It was in Yoda to be a teacher. It wasn't in Luke. Right? Definitely not Kylo Ren. Definitely not Ben Solo. He told Rey, you need a teacher, I can teach you. It wasn't in him at all. He just had that attraction to her because, they were a dyad or whatever. Right? But anyway, like I said, Luke Skywalker, the Mandalorian, Luke Skywalker, the Last Jedi, it's all Luke Skywalker. Nothing's getting retconned. If you believe it is, hey man, I don't know what to tell you, right? I got some beachfront property in Arizona that I would like to sell you. If you, that's Luke. That's his progression, right? I said, hey man, Luke Skywalker was a legend. Now they're going to show us the legend of Luke Skywalker, why he was a legend, how he became a legend, that he swoops in out of nowhere, saves the day. I'm like, hey man, I knew that was part of Luke's story. And then we see how it ends. And I'd kind of like to see somebody else because we don't know how their story ends. It's still wide open, right? Was it going to be Ezra Bridger? It definitely wasn't going to be no damn Mace Windu because he's dead, right? We don't know where Quinlan Voss is. I thought that could have added a really cool element to the Mandalorian, but that's not the way they wanted to go with the story. It couldn't have been Ahsoka because she's out looking for Ezra. It's not Ezra because he's out somewhere, allegedly with Thrawn, probably helping fight. He's probably joined the Chiss Ascendancy by this point and fighting the Grizz, right? Or is it the Grisk? I said the Grizz. Is it the Grizz or the Grisk, right? He's got his story. Could it be Cal Kestis? Well, I was like, no, because if they do Cal Kestis, then you've got an issue with, well, we're doing this Fallen Order sequel game, and you're going to blow the load on how that story goes. Maybe Cal Kestis dies in the second game, or something takes him off the map. There's an explanation for why he's not around, right? Maybe there was some other Jedi that were still in hiding. It would have been cool to see them. I don't know, but we got Luke. The fans are happy. I'm not upset about it. It's like I just what I said. I wanted to see somebody else, and that's all it is to it. People are making a bigger deal out of what I had to say. Really, that's on them because I don't know who they are, and I'm not losing sleep over it. Just like I'm not losing sleep over, oh well. I was like, oh, well, I already had it spoiled. So before I even saw the episode, it was like, oh, I guess it looks like Luke does show up and answer the call. Okay, well, let me see how this plays out. And then, when they are stuck on the bridge and Moff Gideon is kikiing and everything else, it's like, oh, okay, so at any moment Luke is going to swoop in. Oh, there's his X-Wing. Okay, let's see what Luke Skywalker does, right? Maybe I would have felt differently if I had not had it spoiled. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change anything. Now we've got these other spin-off shows. The thing we're going to be looking for is Luke going to make a cameo in any of these? Are we going to see Luke interact with Ahsoka Tano when she's out looking for Ezra? Maybe she runs into Luke and Grogu at some point. I don't know. I do feel like it would be nice to see that meeting, but because Luke is aware of Ahsoka, I still haven't unpacked that book where he talks about Ahsoka, but he knows about Ahsoka Tano, right? So we'll have to wait and see. But, moving forward, I'm willing to accept that Luke could show up and save the day. But again, I'm going to stress these last two things that I've said over and over again. this doesn't undo anything that's going to happen with Luke's story. It's still going to play out the way it does. As Brian mentioned, Luke is at the take up the sword point stage in his story. And later he's going to be at his casting it away stage of the story, right? Everything with his nephew is still going to happen the way it does, right? He's going to be the guy who takes the Knights of Ren apart, allegedly the guy who wounds Snoke. He's going to do all that cool stuff. And then he's going to become disillusioned and realize, I allowed my ego to take over, and look what I did. I drove my nephew to the dark side, right? I didn't tell him the truth about Anakin, about his grandfather. And I tried so hard to protect him. And then when I realized that I was going to fail, I got angry, and it wasn't him that I was really trying to strike down. I was really mad at myself, right? It's like the Buddha, right? Siddhartha's story, right? His father did everything he could to protect him from becoming a holy man because he wanted him to be king. And then what happened in the end? Well, the more he tried to hide everything from him, it's like the faster he fell to that, the faster he fell to that goal, to that outcome, right? It sped up his path to that outcome until that was the only possibility for what would happen in his life, right? So that's really all I got to say on the topic. If you don't like it, deal with it, right? And I said there was one other thing. I really wish that they could set up somebody else. There's got to be somebody else out there acting as a good Samaritan that's doing Jedi stuff. There has to be. They can't all be. It can't only be Luke and Ezra wherever he is. There had to have been other people, and I'd like the explanation for, well, this is why they didn't see him. Just like Karnuk Sin's grandfather had been, out there on some planet by himself, isolated because he never got the word that the rebellion was over and the Inquisitors weren't going to be looking for him. He was still out there, somehow used the Force to preserve himself. So he's still alive, and he's well into his hundreds, and he's still out there ready to fight with a lightsaber and do all his Jedi stuff. And then it's like the minute Karnuk Sin was like, no, grandfather or great grandfather, that was his great grandfather. It's like, no, it's all over with. Like, grandma is safe. As a matter of fact, she's dead now. She grew up, grew old, and had children, and here I am, and I'm your great grandson, and I've got the Force, and I'm trying to figure out, she said that the Force was in my family. It skipped her. But, and went to me. And then his great grandfather was like, oh, you mean it's all, so she's safe. So me leaving, I did manage to protect her. Okay. And then he just crumbled. He turned into dust. That's how old this dude was. He turned into dust, right? There's gotta be people out there, man. And I just wanted their story to come out. Right? Where's Barriss? What if Barriss had come up and was like, yo, I struggle with the dark side too. I'm perfect to help teach him. Right? And I remember him from the temple too. Where is Barriss? Right? Remember I first saw Sasha Banks, and I was like, what if that's Barriss? Right? Cause the hood, I mean, look at Luke's hood. Right, that's the way Sasha Banks was wearing her hood. Where's Barriss? But I don't know, man. That's just me. Somebody was like, Prince, you think too hard about this. No, I don't, man. I literally flow from the dome. Even when I'm writing, even when it's a scripted video, I'm flowing from the dome and I'm typing or writing it out, and then I just go with it. Right? It's a creative thing. That's how my brain works. Right? I just lay it out there, lay out all the possibilities. This is what I think about this. This is where it could go, and that's it. And I'll leave it at that. On to the next thing, right? like I said, this is a creative thing for me, right? There's other stuff that's more important in the grand scheme of things than this stuff. As much as I try to bring it back to a lesson grounded in real life that you can take with you and train or something, but some people don't do that. They just want to sit around and talk about Snoke and Luke Skywalker and lightsabers and Prince, what form did Luke use when he fought the Dark Troopers and the Mandalorian season 2 finale? And you better go watch Generation Tech for that. I don't talk about that shit. I don't care, right? It's not, but what is that going to do for your internal development? It's not going to do anything for mine. Maybe it'll do something for yours, but not for mine. Right? So that's all I got, man. I ain't mean to ramble on for 20 more minutes. I'm going on this one because I'm actually sleepy and I'm going to bed. So I probably won't even edit this video till tomorrow morning, which will be Christmas for me. So maybe this video will get posted on Christmas Day for y'all. Merry Christmas. Be on the lookout for whatever the challenge is. I think I'm going to make it a Dragon Ball themed fitness challenge. You're going to have to sign up for it. It'll be free, but you'll have to sign up for it. That way I can make sure people are actually doing it or attempting to do it for accountability purposes, right? So I'm going to go think on that one, but I'm going to go chill with my wife and probably go to sleep right after I take a shower. So I don't know how much chilling there'll be. I'm going to say like 2 things that'll probably be snoring because that's how fast I fall asleep. So I hope y'all enjoyed this one. I enjoyed recording it. I will holler at y'all on the next video. So y'all keep on breathing and make sure you come back for the next video. That's all I got.